Okay, hold on. Welcome to, well, you know, Umineko. I have to get my snacks. Just give me a moment, okay? Alright, I'm gonna read soon. Now we're gonna find out who done it. I hope you have the answer, because I'm gonna solve it now. Because I already know the answer, because I'm a stinking cheater. Culprit select. It's no, it's not Battler. Oops. I thought I knew it. I dumb. My bad. Okay, so that was the hint. I thought I knew it. Guys, I dumber than I look. Okay. We got it wrong. Sorry, it looks like I'm dumber than I look. I didn't actually know. It's okay, I'm gonna cheat now. Then I'll know. Because I am an evil person. Okay. Hold on. What was I supposed to do? Was I supposed to say it was them? I think that's what I was supposed to do. Yeah, it was Rudolph, Curie, and Battler. My bad. My bad. That's what I was supposed to do. Not just Battler. I forgot. I'm so dumb. I already knew the answer. Somebody! Is anyone there? Oni-chan! Ah! Angie flew out of the guest house sobbing. Is there anyone still alive on this island? When she checked the cousin room earlier, it had been completely empty. However, she remembered that she hadn't seen Balor, George, or Madia's bodies. What she didn't know was whether this meant they were safe or whether she was about to be reunited with them as corpses. Where are they? Where? Answer me! She dashed around the rain. Where was she going? Nowhere in particular. The lost little sister dashed around in circles searching for her brother, drenched in rain and all alone. Eventually, I thought I heard my brother's voice from beyond a bush. No, it wasn't just his voice. I heard George and Maria's voices too. I called out at the top of my lungs, but they didn't answer. But it's okay now. They're right there. Just on the other side of the fence. I could even faintly see them through the fence. When I ran around the fence, I found myself standing in front of a shed or something. It must be a shed to store tools for the rose garden. The three of them were standing in front of the shed. Oni-chan! I cried out, but my voice didn't reach them. Even though I yelled so loudly, something felt very wrong about all of this. When people hear a voice, even when they pretend not to hear it, their bodies tend to show some signs they notice. However, there was no trace of that in the three of them. Even though I was screaming so loud, it truly wasn't reaching their ears. The instant I understood that, my dash toward them slowed and came to a halt. Though we appeared to be in the same world, we were actually in different worlds entirely. It was like seeing someone on TV, or was it more like seeing a ghost? I could see them clearly, but as far as they were concerned, I didn't exist. After all, look. Even if I stand in front of them, their eyes can't see me. If I try and touch them, will I really be able to? What if my hand just went through? I was so scared at that thought that I could do nothing but stand there in shock, even though I was so close to them.
Damn it! I don't have a clue anymore! Someone must have snuck in from outside the island after all! And they're massacring the Ushinomiya family!
No matter how we lock ourselves in, someone always gets killed! Ah! It's the work of a witch after all!
Everyone, calm down. Let's calm down and think. No one exists on the island except with those with a direct relation to the Ushinomiya family. That doesn't make sense! After all, we've just seen several murders that'd be impossible for any one of us! Well, that's true. But is it really? Maybe we just missed something.
Miss something?
For example, that's right. Maybe somebody was playing dead. Since we're the only ones on this island, the culprit must be one of us. That means someone we thought was dead was actually faking. But Aniki, that's impossible! Every one of the corpses was checked by someone. There's no way any of them were faking. I don't want to think about it. What if those corpses were inspections also faked?
Huh?
It could have gone like this. There are multiple culprits from the start. And one plays dead and the other lies and confirms the first culprit died. Then the culprit who played dead keeps on committing crimes, creating the illusion that some stranger has snuck onto the island. Do you still suspect someone in the Ushinomiya family being the culprit? Dr. Nanjo was killed, so it's probably safe to say he isn't a culprit. And we can consider the examinations performed by a doctor like him to be the most reliable. So, it's fair to say that people whose death Nanjo checked were most certainly dead. Who did Nanjo check? Genji's corpse, Krause and Natsuhi's corpses, Shannon's corpse, Goda and Kumasawa's corpses. Think back to the beginning and the bodies in the dining hall. Of those 6 victims, Dr. Nanjo only inspected Genji.
But didn't the rest of us check the others?
Yes, but Dr. Nanjo didn't actually inspect them himself. What are you talking about? How the hell could our parents have survived after being killed like that? Anyway, what do you think you're saying, George? Wouldn't that mean one of our parents is the culprit? That's insane! They were killed right at the beginning after so many of them. How can you accuse our parents of being killers after that? I won't let anyone, not even you, suspect and slander our parents after they've been killed like that! Sorry.
I know my mama was really dead. So does that mean George's parents or Balor's parents were the culprits?
Let's stop this, Maria. I must have lost it a bit back there.
George wouldn't kill Shannon.
That's enough! None of us would kill members of our family, right?
So I don't think George would lie and say his parents were dead. Not if they were really alive. There's no way George would help out in the crime Shannon was going to be killed.
Calmly, as though answering a quiz or a riddle, Maria spoke to George. Then with a blank look on her face, she turned to Balor and spoke.
Battler, you saw your dad's and mom's corpses, right?
Yeah, I saw them. We saw them, right? Those pitiful bloodstained...
I think you're lying.
Huh? Where the hell did that come from?
door from inside and waited in that room. The other one took over the murders after that. To break open the closed room in the guest house, they needed to have an accomplice inside. That was Battler. That explains everything.
Enough! Stop it, Battler! You too, Maria!
Finally, all the pieces fit together in the wolves and sheets puzzle in my head. The culprits are Battler's family. Am I right?
What are you talking about?
Correct. The voice came from behind Angie. She spun around surprised. They are covered in blood, yet cheery expressions warned were Rudolph and Kyrie. Uncle Rudolph, Aunt Kyrie, I'm so glad you're safe. After saying that much, George realized what his words meant. His face twisted into an expression of shock and horror. Maria wasn't surprised. However, she showed no joy at having her answer proved correct. And as for Battler, Angie saw it. That terrible expression, one that she would never forget as long as she lived. It was a demon smile. A hideous demon that she'd never see again twisted in its face in foul grin. The truly horrible thing was that she saw it on her brother's face. Rudolph and Kyrie lifted the guns they had been holding behind them. The barrels pointed at the foreheads of George, who staggered backwards, and Maria, who grinned as though she was beyond caring what happened next. There was a flash of lightning and a crack of thunder. Nothing more could be heard. Then as George and Maria were snapped around by that roar, the strings holding them were snipped. The two dolls fell into the puddles with a splash and stopped moving. Dad, Mom, all this occurred right before... Dad,
Mom?
All this occurred right before Angie's eyes. Angie, who stood stunned behind them, wasn't visible to their eyes. They guffawed, overcome with laughter. Then right in front of Angie, they started joking and complimenting each other on their kills so far. The three hideous faces, the faces of her family, made Angie want to cry and vomit at the same time. She felt as though she would suffocate. Angie dashed away, covering her mouth. She wanted to escape the disgusting laughter coming from her beloved family as soon as possible. Then she slipped and fell down in a puddle of mud. She didn't try to get up. In fact, she instead chose to cover her ears to block out the disgusting laughter that she could still hear. As she did, in the shadows of the fences and bushes in this inky black rose garden, several dark things slipped into sight. Angie looked around, surprised to see eerie black shapes appearing all over the garden and slowly surrounding her. It was a crowd of people with goat heads. Their outfits were all different. Some wore suits, while others dressed casually. However, all of them were covered with darkness. All of them had goat heads. Angie, bewildered, accidentally let her hands fall from her ears. By now, she couldn't hear that disgusting laughter. However, in the place, she could hear the words spoken by the goats.
Kyrie and Rudolph are the culprits. Battler is the culprit. Battler is the culprit. Battler culprit theory. Battler's family culprit theory.
As the goats continued to mumble in eerie voices, they surrounded Angie and began to draw nearer. They all pressed around her, each of them naming Angie's family as the culprits. At first everyone joined in on the Eva culprit theory. The sole survivor from Rokenjima almost got all the wealth to herself. Such a theory was only natural. Why was Ushiromiya Eva the only one to escape to Kuadorian? And why did she refuse so stubbornly to talk about what happened that day? It was decided that the Eva culprit theory fit all these facts. However, when Eva died of illness and people learned that all the vast wealth she created was by unscrupulous means would go to ANGE, public opinion, or rather the forgers, created and spread a new culprit theory. This was the Rudolph's family culprit theory. If it was normal for everyone to come to the family conferences, why was ANGE the only one who didn't come this time? Did Rudolph's family have some reason for not bringing the young ANGE with them? They did take Valor, but he wasn't Kirei's son. Then, when it was revealed in some magazines that Kirei's family had a close ties to the massive gangster organization, all eyes suddenly gathered on Kirei herself. The truth of how Rudolph had made a killing out of fraudulent business practices was also laid bare. Almost immediately, the couple became thought of as the most suspicious people on the island. Hideyoshi and Ava's company might have been heavy-handed at times, but at least it operated within the law. However, the more Rudolph's company was investigated, the more dirt was dug up. Furthermore, testimony was dug up about various scandals involving party tickets from the time Rudolph and Kirei were students. It was clear they were far more suspicious than Ava's family. And so, in a flash, the Rudolph family culprit theory expelled the other conspiracy theories, including the Ava culprit theory, and reigned as the greatest of them all. It wasn't really because it was more plausible than the Ava culprit theory. They had just gotten bored of the old theory and wanted a new sensation. Hello! The gulch seemed to bend and undulate. The sky rapidly turned white, becoming a ceiling lit by fluorescent lamps. The goats had changed completely, becoming the shapes of girls wearing goat masks. All the girls were wearing the same clothes. It was a uniform, the uniform of St. Lucia Academy.
Did you hear? The real culprits were Rudolph and Kirei! I heard. Yeah, I knew there was something suspicious about them leaving their kid behind. Didn't Ushiromiya Eva say herself that she was poisoned to death? Isn't it obvious who was behind that? Must be nice for her. She gets her whole family's riches to herself, right? I always knew the Rudolph family culprit theory was right. I always thought there was something wrong with Ushiromiya. Rudolph and Kirei are the culprits. Isn't Valor a culprit too? Rudolph's family culprit theory! Rudolph and Kirei are the killers. They try to get the family wealth all to themselves, but Ava killed them back and they failed. But in the end, Ushiromiya ANGE gets everything anyway, doesn't she? Rudolph and Kirei are the culprits, of course. Rudolph's family culprit theory! Rudolph and Kirei and Valor are the culprits! Rudolph and Kirei and Valor are the culprits! They're saying your family were the culprits, Ushiromiya. What do you think of that? Hey, what do you think? But in the end, you get all the family wealth to yourself, don't you? Even at the end, Ushiromiya Ava never told you anything, right? I always knew that girl was suspicious. This also explains why Ava hated you so much. Hey, say something. Tell us what you think. She really is a creepy kid, isn't she? Can't you at least tell us what you think of this theory, creep?
A blade of air swept over me as I crouched down holding my head. In a flash, the illusion of female students with goat heads that surrounded me shattered. I was curled up in a puddle in a rainy rose garden surrounded by goats, but then those goats were also sliced in half, and the upper half slid to the side. It was like seeing a master swordsman slicing through a stick of bamboo. This way!
The voice came from the black cat. The black cat with the bell had guided me here. Incredible that it can talk, but that doesn't matter now. I dashed after it. The goat shrank back and a hole opened up in the encirclement. The black cat dashed through it. As I hurried through it, the goats began to chase after me. Countless heavy footsteps thundered behind us. Where are we running to, Mr. Cat? The cat ignored my stupid question. Where are we running to? It's obvious. As far away as we can make it. However, there were an unbelievable number of goats. It wasn't just the group chasing us. There were probably goats hiding through the rose garden everywhere we went, and a group of them would appear and block our path. Each time we bumped into them, we ran into different paths in this maze of a rose garden. So I didn't even know which direction we were running anymore. It couldn't be. We aren't running around in circles inside a massive crowd of goats, are we? When we ran to the arbor once more, I learned my fears were justified. The 4 paths that led to the arbor were all blocked by a crowd of goats. Of course, the path that we had come down was also blocked by our pursuers. There was nowhere to go and nowhere to return to. We were finally trapped. Mr. Cat, what should we do? We're surrounded! The black cat glared at the goats. The black cat glared at the goats that surrounded us, standing on guard. It's all over for us. At that moment, I found myself floating in the air. A massive arm large enough to crush my entire head had grabbed my collar from behind. Before I could even think to cry out, I saw right in front of my face a pair of strangely glowing red eyes and a massive mouth with jagged teeth and a foul breath. The mouth opened wide, and as though it was a separate creature, a bizarre tongue stuck itself out. And then it spat words at me.
Rudolph, Kyrie, and Battler are the culprits. Rudolph and Kyrie played dead. Battler lied when he inspected them. Then one of the parents carried out the murders until the second twilight and hid under the bed in Natsuhi's room. Battler killed Shannon and then assisted in the murders in the guest house. The other parent carried out the guest house murders. This is the truth.
Then that gaping, smelly mouth slowly began to close over Angie's head. Counter. It's possible to form a logical theory other than the Rudolph family culprit theory. A blue flash sliced off the top of the mouth that was trying to eat Angie's head, sending it flying.
I fell into the pile along with the goat that was still grasping a collar, though there was nothing left above its chin. Without any hesitation, the goat stretched out their thick arms as though they'd been given a second chance to snatch this prey for themselves, and they rushed towards me. All of them spoke in unison.
Anything besides the Rudolph culprit family theory could be impossible. Absolutely impossible!
It's possible to form a logical explanation other than Rudolph's family culprit theory. For example, a theory with George's family as the culprits is possible.
A red flash and a blue line became blades of wind that passed over my head. Oops. Sorry, let me read that in Angie's child voice.
A red flash and a blue line became blades of wind that passed over my head, doubly slicing the arms of the goat that tried to pick me up. I think the next goat dashed, not toward me, but toward the black cat that was protecting me from behind. As I sat on my butt, staring up toward the rainy night sky, the massive goats were in the air right above me, fighting the black cat or someone.
A George family culprit theory is impossible! George can't kill Shannon! He can't be a culprit, and he can't lie when checking corpses!
No, it is possible. A culprit theory is... No, it is possible. A culprit is defined as one who murders. No one ever said they had to murder a character who appears in the story. In other words, if George committed murder outside the island sometime before this crime, he could be a culprit without killing anyone on the island, and it'd be possible for him to lie.
The deep red curves bit into the goat. Its massive body was knocked into the air and became about 7 logs of flesh and was thrown into the rose bushes. This time, the terrible force of an attack shocked the goats. They faltered, shook, and stepped back.
Finally, I understood. That red slice, it had come from a weapon that could draw red slashes. No, it also drew blue slashes just a second ago. It was a massive sight that could speak both types of truth, red and blue at will. I looked up at the sky and let my head hang down backwards. There was no black cat there. It was a girl holding a large scythe. How's that? This level of reasoning is possible for Furuto Erica.
When the crowd of goats recognized the girl who called herself Erica, a stir passed through it. It was clear this person had enough of a reputation to make them tremble.
Erica lifted me up and flew into the air and landed on top of the arbor. Then she let go of me, still wielding her scythe, and made an elegant curtsy to the crowd of goats surrounding us. This is probably the first time most of you have met me. Allow me to introduce myself. Pleased to meet you, everyone. I'm Furuto Erica, the detective. If you're one of those blockheads who can only think of the Rudolph family culprit theory, stand down. If anyone thinks they can counter my argument, please feel free. Of course, I won't be holding back either.
The goats all howled at once. It seemed to be the cry of shock, of fear, or possibly awe. The goats surrounded the arbor, chattering but not moving any closer. None of them had the courage to stand against this detective, this witch of truth called Furuto Erica.
Good grief. All those thousands, and this is the best you can do? None of you have the courage to fight Furuto Erica in a battle of words. Too bad. Let's put an end to this. Then again, I, Furuto Erica, don't have enough spare time to counter all of you blockheads one by one. I'll let her clean up the rest. You're up!
When Erica cried out, red cracks opened in the dark night sky. It looked like the spiderweb-shaped fissures that appear when a glass window had been struck hard, or was it more like a blood-red spiderweb? A laugh rang out through the spiderweb-covered world. A witch's laugh. It sounded somehow familiar to Angie. And there, standing on the spiderweb, gazing down the goats, who must have looked like trap bugs, was the witch.
You forget me, and you call him the ruler of Rokenjima. You forget me, and you think Rudolph is the culprit?
It was the witch who had hidden inside of Ava. A witch of the future who would one day call herself the Endless Witch after the cat box closed over this world.
Who forgets Ava Beatrice and calls himself the murderer of Rokenjima? How impertinent! On this island, who lives and who dies is totally up to me! All the wealth and gold is mine! Everything about October 4th and 5th in 1986 is mine to do with as I please! It all belongs to me, Ava Beatrice!
Ava swung her one-winged staff at the crowd of foolish goats beneath her, proclaiming their deaths. The ceiling of the spiderwebs that covered the heavens plummeted, and more spiderwebs seeped out of the ground at the goats' feet. Then the webs from above and below met. Thousands upon thousands of goats were caught in their grasp. Then as Ava swung her staff, it swirled, around and around like egg yolk being mixed in a bowl. Eventually it was all packed into a massive blood-red goo. The moans of goats drifted out from inside. That entire crowd had been compressed into a meatball, a few meters across.
So you morons doubt that I'm the culprit? Reaching the Ava culprit theory and giving up there is good enough for the likes of you. If only you just get crushed and disappear!
No other word could do that sound justice. After sucking in all those goats, the spider ball web had vanished into thin air with a squelch. After that, there wasn't even a trace left. The dark rose garden lay there without any sound but that of the falling rain. Ava drifted down from the sky.
Your aunt will always be on your side, Angie. I'll never let anyone insult your family. Aunt Ava, I knew I should be grateful, and yet it really wasn't easy for me to believe that Aunt Ava was my ally. Ava realized that too. Don't worry. I'm not doing this because I want to be thanked, but I'll always be on your side. See you later. She giggled, spun around, and vanished. Now that she had already left, I started to regret not saying even a thank you. So, I figured I should at least thank the other person who had saved me. Thanks for saving me. Who are you? I already knew her name. What I was really asking was why she had saved me. I'm Furuto Erica the detective, and I'm also a witch. A witch? A witch of truth. One who searches for the single truth. And so are you, right? Those 2 days, October 4th and 5th, 1986, I've been so desperate to know what happened that I took a step off the roof of that skyscraper, drifted through several witch games and fragment worlds, and abandoned myself to this long journey with no rewards. All I want is to know what happened that day. All I want is the single truth of that day. Searching for something like that is what makes you a witch of truth. So you're just the same as me. That's why I came to save you. I want to know just what happened on that day. No one will tell me. No one knows. But I know something happened that day. I'd give up anything to learn what that was. That's the one thing I need to know, no matter what, even if it kills me. So tell me. You know, don't you? You know what happened on this island, right? Does a witch of truth expect to be given the truth? If I told you that so-and-so was the truth, would you really just accept whatever I said? No, I wouldn't. What did Battler show you today? Today, Oni-chan showed me a bizarre Halloween party. It may have been a heartwarming and a lot of fun, but it definitely wasn't the truth. Didn't Battler show you something and say it was the truth? It's not. That couldn't be the truth. Sometimes other people will try to mislead us by claiming they know the truth. But a real witch of truth must continue to pursue the single truth without being led astray. That's why you can't accept the fake truth that Battler is trying to force on you. You care about finding the one real truth more than anything. Yeah. Oni-chan is trying to confuse me. I felt it this whole time. Even though he knows everything about what happened that day, he won't tell me anything at all. How is he any different from Aunt Ava, who mocked me and refused to tell me anything, even until the very moment of her death? Why won't Oni-chan tell me? Why? Why won't he tell me? The dam inside my heart burst. Why won't Oni-chan tell me what really happened? Why? Why? I'm the only one who doesn't know. No one's telling me the truth. Tell me. Tell me what happened that day, Oni-chan. Oni-chan! I cried out at the rainy night sky. Hot tears poured from my eyes, but they were covered.
Really? Fuck off, car! Did you hear that car honk? I'm so fucking pissed. Who the hell is honking a car at 9:30 p.m.? You got no business doing that. I hate drivers. I hate living in an open road. Alright. Let's try that again. Seriously, what the hell is going on? I've been hearing cars all the freaking time. Okay. Or an airplane. I don't know. Let's continue. I cried out at the rainy night sky, and hot tears poured from my eyes, but they were covered by the cold rain that beat against me, so no one other than me would know that they were tears. No one would know my pain and sadness. I'm always the only one
all alone. Someone tell me! Tell me what happened that day! No one can tell you. After all, you can only find the truth if you look for yourself. Where is the truth? How can I find it? Everyone's hiding it. They won't tell me. I'll find it myself. So please, just tell me where the truth is hidden. Very well. I can tell you. As the voice rang out, the world bent and swirled. After blinking several times, I realized that the world had become a sea of stars. No, that's not quite right. There are stars up there in the sky, but those lights below me aren't stars. They're lights from the building windows, streetcars, and car lights. I was floating in the dark sky over a lying city with skyscrapers.
I can't tell you what the truth is. However, if it's a question of how the truth can be reached, I can show you the way.
Various bad memories are jumping back at me from the back of my mind. That's right. I was chained in place in that strange theater and forced to watch a repulsive fragment where Mom and Dad had committed murder.
I never said that was the truth.
But I heard what you said with the red. I'll say it just for you that this is all the truth.
You yelled out and interrupted, stopping me from saying any more. I was about to say that this is all truth isn't necessarily so.
Just how far are you willing to go to mock me?
I apologize, but I did want to test you.
Test me how?
I wanted to see if you were ready to accept the truth, no matter what it may be. The truth can betray you sometimes. In fact, there are times when it shows itself as the thing you desire least. That fragment I showed you was probably the worst one you could possibly imagine. However, if you lack the strength and courage to withstand even something like that, then you aren't fit to reach the truth.
I have no comeback. Finding the truth is my goal. I just want to know what happened that day on the island. I don't like to think that I only want to hear what I want to hear. Am I really prepared to face the bloody, unbearable truth that probably awaits me? If I find the truth, it'll mean having to look straight at my family's final tragic moments and accepting them as they are. And if I do accept that, it means abandoning my faint hope for a convenient miracle. The idea that one of them might have survived somehow and might return even though 12 years have passed. I know a miracle like that would be completely ridiculous. But if I'm honest with myself, I have to admit that I've been comforted by that faint hope these past 12 years. I want to know the truth, and I want one of them to come back. Those two wishes contradict each other. By learning the truth, I'll be forced to accept that no one's coming home. The truth is always cruel.
At times it can even cut down your hopes. Most of the time, humans don't realize the cost of learning the truth. I simply wanted to see if you had the necessary resolve.
I must choose between my two contradicting wishes. Will I find the truth and abandon my optimistic hopes for my family's return? Or will I give up on the truth and keep waiting for the family that will never really return for all eternity? Will I freeze up and let myself be fooled by the childish illusion my brother made for me?
Tell me, Angie, are you truly determined to learn the truth?
I am.
And your resolve will not falter?
It won't. After hearing my immediate reply, Berncastle stared at me. Are those expressionless eyes of hers measuring my resolve? Now that my brother is covering up the truth, even after becoming Game Master, the only thing I can rely on in my search for the truth is the path that Berncastle can show me.
Deep in your eyes, I see the glint of one who seeks the truth.
Will you tell me? Will you show me the way that leads to the truth?
Yes, I'll guide you. Did you forget, Angie? I'm your guardian, right? How long has it been since I heard Castle use that word? Yes, I haven't heard since the very beginning, when I met her in this future world and became a witch, with her as my guardian. That's when I became Beatrice of 1998, the one who could defeat the Beatrice of 1986. You're the Beatrice of 1998, Angie Beatrice. I became your guardian and recognized you as a witch. However, you aren't an endless witch like Beato. A witch of truth. That's right. You're like Erica, a witch of truth who will seek the single truth, undeceived by any illusions. I guess the witch of truth, Angie Beatrice, has the power to reach the single truth. Yes. However, up until now, you have been unable to use this power. Do you know why? I do know. Even though I searched for the truth, I unconsciously resisted learning the truth. Exactly. Finding the truth was your goal. But at the same time, you were unconsciously afraid that learning the truth would mean losing that miracle of your family coming back. So you didn't have what it took to stretch your hand out to the single truth. You're completely right. I have to admit that I was naive. I must admit it. My entire family is dead. Now that I have acknowledged it, I must expose why they died and who was behind it. Thanks. The fragment you showed me in that dark theater was there to open my eyes. Many, many games have gone by, waiting for you to become a true witch of the truth. But I think there was a purpose to it all. After all, now in this final game, you really have become a witch of truth. Tell me, what happened on the island that day? I won't ask you to tell me directly, so guide me. What can I do to reach the truth? It's a bit too chilly here. Let's move. To where? To a place better for drinking tea. A massive applause filled the hall. It was applause in honor of a good fight, and applause in honor of Bernkastel. Yes, Lady Bernkastel's game was another splendid one. We're going to reveal her game board to everyone here, so have a go at it. It's pretty awesome. But you solved it in the end all the time. But you solved it in the end all the same. A game that no one can solve isn't a game. The main point is whether it was fun or not. It's fun. I guarantee it's quality. Same here. At first I thought there was no way anyone could solve it, but the way you can use one of the confirmed purple statement after another to narrow down the suspects made for a great puzzle. Come everyone, gather, gather! Just what sort of game is Lady Bernkastel's mystery? That's for you to find out yourselves! Objects resembling chessboards were set out on several tables. Crowds gathered around each, looking down with interest. Oh, it's like a logic puzzle. Quite an orthodox one, don't you think? So this is what a witch's game is like. Looking at it like this, it's just a game. But for the pieces, it's a massive series of crimes. Indeed it is.
It would not do to waste such a rare gift from Lady Bernkastel. Let us take this opportunity to enjoy ourselves.
Still, this is a tough one. It almost makes you wonder if it was made to be solvable, doesn't it? If you don't start by believing that it's made to be solvable, then you won't get anywhere. A battle of wits doesn't begin until you trust the questioner and believe that it can be solved. And we guarantee that it is. Come on, have a go at it! With Balor's encouragement, discussions over Bernkastel's mystery yen began at each table. The mix of humans and illusions and heated debate was truly a sight to behold. Beato and Bernkastel sat in a chair far off from the discussions. Would you like some tea? Any kind of calming black tea for me, with milk if you don't mind. As you wish.
Is there anything you need, Lady Berncastle?
Please add some dried plums to the black tea. That's the trick to making terrible tea drinkable.
Come now, don't sulk. We were honestly complimenting your game for being such a fun one.
Beata, who emerged victorious in a game Berncastle had put all of her heart into, was in extremely high spirits. I'm not sulking. My face just looks this way.
When I managed to spot Burns' own kind of warmth in that expression, I felt like I climbed to a pitch black top of a snowy mountain to find a beautiful star.
Well, sorry for having an eternally frosty face.
How difficult it is to compliment Lady Berncastle. No matter what you say, she always takes it in a bad way.
That's okay. She's the type who'll keep thinking about it for hours later on.
The type who lies in bed relishing it while hugging her pillow.
Yep, that's Burn for you.
Beato and Lambda Delta giggled together. Berncastle shrugged and looked away. Seriously, though, that really was a fun game with a twist. You think so? Thank you.
You could have made it unsolvable, but you still made it to be solved. You couldn't have done that unless you planned on playing fair and enjoying the game.
I like games where I win no matter what. Games that I might lose are just a pain.
Later, I'd like to switch sides and try another one. I'll make a puzzle and see if you can solve it. A game for you to win against me. Of course, I'll use the all know-how I picked up in my fights to make Beata. Oh, I messed up. I'm sorry. Of course, I'll use all the know-how I picked up from my fights with Beata to make it super hard. I'm not giving up my winning streak that easily.
Both of you and Beata have such an interesting way of thinking.
How's that?
A game is just a means to decide who wins and who loses, right? When you create one, your own victory should be your highest priority. So why would you go to all the trouble of making a game you might lose?
What fun is there in a game you always win? That's not even a game. Victory and defeat. It's fun because you're taking part in a fair competition balanced between those two outcomes. A game isn't a fight. It's communication. You have to enjoy the means. If you manage to win in the end, well, that's just an added bonus.
Finally, I clearly understand.
Damn it, what the fuck? Understand? Seriously, me? Oh my god, I'm gonna kick your ass. I would clone myself and kick my own ass. Sorry, I'm feeling a little aggressive. Alright, let's start again.
Finally, I clearly understand the difference between how you all think and how I think.
What do you mean?
For you, this is communication. It isn't for me.
The world you live in must be pretty savage.
And what about you? Wasn't it the same for you until you understood Beato's game? An eternal game is eternal torture. Have you already completely forgotten about that pain you suffered?
There were days I did think that, but now it's all been resolved. I won't complain about stuff that's in the past. I'm impartial, you might say.
That is the critical difference between you and me, I think. Your eternal torture was something you could laugh off and forget. Mine wasn't nearly so trivial. That's all there is to it.
I don't know your history. Sounds like you had it rough.
To think I'm getting sympathy from a mere former piece. I must be getting old.
Berncastle, sniffing the black tea that Genji had brought her, gazed up at the ceiling with a faraway look. Valor may not have known her history, but even he was able to understand a bit of how she felt. Are you being tortured by someone right now?
Are you kidding? I am as free as can be. I'm not bound by anyone's shackles.
Then that's a good thing, isn't it? At least things are better for you now.
True. It's much better now than it once was. though I am on a long endless journey to escape from boredom.
Then at the very least, us meeting here should have been a good thing for you.
Indeed, even the taste of defeat can keep my boredom at bay somewhat.
No. Balor shook his head and laughed. We're friends who've enjoyed fighting in a fair game.
So,
Your days are filled with nothing but running away from boredom. Feel free to drop by our place every now and then. We'd love to welcome a friend. And we'll be able to set up everything needed to help a friend escape from boredom.
you think you can compare a welcome interesting enough to help me, the great Burnt Castle, escape from boredom for even a single night?
I do. That's what it means to be a friend. You won tonight's game, so the next time you come, we'll switch sides. This time we'll entertain you with one of our games. Of course, we don't intend to let you win easily. We'll challenge you to a devilishly twisted logic game. It won't be something that you can solve in a night. It'll be good enough to make you stay for months and racking your brains over it.
You would entertain me, the great Burnt Castle, as a friend?
Yeah, we would.
After talking with you, even this dried up plum tea is starting to taste sickly sweet. What a pain.
I heard from Beato. Sounds like this dried plum tea stuff is one of your favorites. Next time we'll throw in some high-class dried plums covered in gold leaves, so make sure you come again.
If you really plan to do that, try finding some better tea to start with. I'll never feel like coming again if you keep serving me tea like this.
Ah, come on. Guess the tea you're used to drinking is pretty damn high class. Next time, why don't you invite us somewhere where we can drink some of that?
Me? Invite you over?
It's only fair, right? We treated you. Now it's your turn.
Yes. It would only be fair.
So let's have the game be fair too. Let's switch sides and start a new game. I'm looking forward to it. We won this time, but who knows about the next?
That's some confidence you have there. And yet I'm afraid you're mistaken on one point.
What's that?
My game isn't over yet. I wonder who will win in the end.
After taking one more sip of her black tea, Brincastle set her cup on the table wearing a thin smile.
The tea here's far too sweet. It was a mistake to have any. Thank you, Genji. Take this away, please.
Brincastle is like, I have Asian taste buds. I need it bitter. Bitter as hell. No sweets. Trust me, I'm like that with frosting. I'm like, too goddamn sweet. I don't like frosting. I don't like sprinkles. There's just certain things that are too sweet for my palate. I do not like cream. Especially not Oreo cream. Too goddamn sweet. I mean, I'm not like my parents yet. I hope not. I still want some sweetness, but yeah. This is a joke. A dumb one.
As you wish.
Brincastle asked for her tea to be taken away after taking only 2 sips. Balor smiled, realizing this was just Burn's way of being shy.
Battler, why are you smiling with such a foolish, optimistic face? If you really think this final game will be nothing but a happy epilogue, then I'll have to invite you onto a proper game for bringing this tale to a close. Battler, you forget too easily. Don't you remember in those hands lie the key in this final game?
The inside of my nose itched. I never regained consciousness to a smell before. I slowly opened my eyes. Wait, when did I lose consciousness in the first place? I don't remember going to sleep or falling unconscious. That's right. Brincastle invited me to a place better for drinking tea. That's when my memory gets hazy, since the smell of black tea is what woke me up. Where am I?
Our study. I hate to admit it, but her taste in tea is excellent. I was sitting on what appeared to be a sofa in a dimly lit study. Castle sat across from me, and right before my eyes was a beautiful cup filled with hot steaming tea. Isn't this place... I remembered. I've been here before, wasn't it?
How pleasant it is to see you again, child of man.
Yes, that voice. Just hearing it brings back memories. Long time no see, my master.
I didn't think I would get the chance to welcome you into my study again. To think that game of yours is still continuing. It won't be continuing much longer. This is the end. The true final game.
Sorry I paused. I don't know why, but cars think just because the road is straight that they can just stroll through. Like zoom. It's 10 p.m. I hate cars that are rude. I also hate rude engines. Or maybe I just hate the people driving them. Yeah, I hate you. I hate those people. Anyway. This is the study of Featherine Augustus Aura, the majestic witch of theater-going drama and spectating. Once in the past, I was summoned by her in order to be her reader, her Miko. Don't tell me you want me to read again.
I wasn't the one who called you here. My Miko brought the two of us together.
Why?
Isn't it obvious? To show you the path that leads to the truth.
You'll show me the way, Featherine?
Well, I am the witch of theater going. Though I dislike interfering with actors on the stage. So would you rather watch Balor's boring play? Or my exciting one that manipulates the branching paths of fate? I know you can't stand even a minute of boredom.
As Featherine rocked her rocking chair, she looked up at the ceiling and chuckled. She clearly holds some key to the truth that I seek.
And yet, you are literally the one holding the key. I can do nothing but tell you where to find the keyhole, child of man.
I don't remember saying anything out loud, but Featherine answered my question as though I had. Come to think of it, that's right. Featherine can read the thoughts of a mere child of man like me as easily as she can hear me speak. Well, I guess that'll help us get to the point quicker. Ah, yes, that would make my life easier too. Oni-chan did give me this key. But then he just said something about how I know how to use it when the time was right. He didn't say a word about what it was used for. Do you two know? What is this key for? Oni-chan said it was for something very precious.
Explain, my Miko. No way. You explain. You demand that your master explain. You've got to go on stage every now and then. Otherwise you'll just get senile all the faster. My, and yet I just enjoyed some long overdue time on the stage when ANGE was reader, which should last me several centuries at least.
Tell me, what is this key?
A physical manifestation of the decision you are to make. This tale, this game, will end when you are asked to make a certain decision. What you hold there is an act of your decision embodied in the form of a key.
The physical manifestation of my decision.
Exactly. Balor's probably planning to end it by putting you in front of two doors, both of which can open by the key. Then he would ask you to choose which door to open. He must have told you that much, right?
He didn't tell me anything at all. He just kept saying things like, you'll know when the time comes. No one will tell me anything. Not Oni-chan. Not anyone.
Balor probably wants to respect your right to make a decision of your own free will. But ANGE, you should have at least started to figure it out by now, right?
Figure out what?
There's an answer Balor wants you to choose, isn't there?
Those words made my heart jump in my chest. It was what I had been thinking. Oni-chan is clearly trying to trick me with a vague tale, almost like a daydream. That'll take me even farther away from the truth. At the 1986 family conference, everyone had a wonderful time as they faded away. Everyone smiling down from you in heaven, so you don't need to feel alone even in 1998. So give it your all and live on by yourself. I clearly sense Oni-chan's desire to end it like that. Every time I ask him about it, he dodges the issue and says something about how the decision will be mine in the end.
That's right. It may appear as though Balor is giving you a fair choice, but he's actually scheming to get you to choose a certain one of those two answers. You've already seen the farce of a tale that he's using to do that, right?
That bizarre Halloween party, with everyone acting so strange and friendly that was almost sickening. I've already seen more than enough of that tale, so sickly sweet it makes me want to vomit. Where Ushiromiya Kinzo showered me with affection, where his children swore to support each other, where everyone was filled with happiness and hope. He's trying to trick me with those chummy scenes, so he can keep me away from the truth. He's such a coward.
True, it might be easy to call him a coward from your perspective, but remember, if you are a player in this game, and Balor is the game master, what does that imply? In the past, Balor was a player and Beto was the game master, and they each fought for their own respective truths. So what's happening this time?
I'm a player, and Oni-chan's the game master. Could it be that I misunderstood everything from the very beginning? Oni-chan said he'd tell me what happened that day, so I assumed that following him meant I'd learn everything. Isn't that the same as saying that Oni-chan accepts everything Beato said about the crimes being the work of a witch? What a stupid mistake I've been making. So this game has always been a fight between me and Oni-chan?
I'm surprised you joined in without realizing that. Balor really is sly. He quickly started up the final game without letting you realize that simple fact. Well, it was the same back in Beato's games. Balor was drawn into her game before he knew what was happening, before he even knew how to fight. That's why I taught him how. And now it's exactly the same. You were forced to start this game before you understood anything about it, and I've come to tell you the truth, to tell you who you're fighting against and for what.
I was too shocked to speak. And finally, I realized what I needed to accomplish in this game. I've always been passive. I was sure that Oni-chan would tell me everything, so I naively thought I just had to believe whatever he said. I was wrong. That's not what this is. This is a battle between me and the one who wants to reach the truth, and Oni-chan who wants to trick me and chase me out into a 1998 where I'm all alone. All this time, I kept saying that Oni-chan was foolish and naive, and now that I see I was more naive than anyone else, and yet Burn Castle didn't sneer at me. On the contrary, she looked at me with that cold gaze, as if to say,
"So you've finally taken your first step. Now do you understand your own purpose, and the purpose of that key?"
I gripped the key Oni-chan had hung around my neck, and for a while, I shook with an emotion that even I couldn't understand. Now that I know Oni-chan tricked me, it'd be easy to hate him, but hating him would be missing the point. After all, this is a game between me and him. Oni-chan has done nothing but make the optimal moves for winning against me. If games aren't a playful way to communicate, if they're the process that decides who wins and who loses, then there can be no fair games. The best strategy is to always trick your enemy into defeat without telling them the rules before they even know what's going on. In that sense, Oni-chan hasn't done anything wrong. He's just using that sickly sweet illusion to trick me and force me out into a lonely future. They'll be the only ones having a good time in the cat box, and I'll be the only one chased out. Thank you. I'm grateful. I think I've finally been able to truly open my eyes.
Please, don't hate Balor. After all, one-sidedly tricking your opponent is what the Game Masters do.
I know. Oni-chan took the best option from his perspective. That's all there is to it. So I need to make the best possible moves from my perspective. My goal is now clear. October 4th and 5th, 1986. What happened on Rokenjima on those days. I need to tear out the veil covering the truth. Nothing more, nothing less. Oni-chan gave me this key, probably because he wants me to put it into the keyhole of his choosing. That's why he keeps showing me this sentimental illusion. But I won't be fooled anymore. I'll open the door I want to open. Certainly, this kind of tale is more to my liking than one where Angie does whatever Balor says. Then this time I'll let you run the show from here on out. Tell Angie. Tell her where the keyhole that leads to the truth is. Tell me. Where's the keyhole? Very well. First off, have a seat. I'll go and get it for you. When Feathery rose from her rocking chair, my vision seemed to twist and bend. What is this? Some kind of interference? Why now when Feathery's trying to show me something important? Why is my head getting suddenly? I dug my fingernails into my knees, clenching my teeth to keep from losing consciousness. However, the world just kept twisting more and more. Except for the feeling of the sofa beneath me, I couldn't sense anything at all. Lady. Huh? Looks like they arrived. The door opened, and Hachijo Toya appeared. What's going on? This isn't the world of witches, but the world of humans? I was sitting on a sofa, and Amakusa was behind me. There's no need to feel confused. Feathery and Hachijo Toya are the same being. To her, the difference between the two worlds is a trivial thing. To put in the words of a theater lover, it's like having a slightly different background behind the stage. So there's no reason for me to feel hesitant. Should I call you Madame Hachijo this time? How complicated names are. Even though the both of us are still here just like before, you have to wonder what to call me. True. Calling you Feathery would be a bit rude to you now. For an actor, the name of a role they act is only temporary. Precisely, child of man. Feathery? Amakusa's eyes went as wide as he wondered what I was suddenly talking about. I ignored him and continued. So what are you going to show me? As I spoke, my eyes were caught by that heavy-looking object she held under her arm. At a glance, it looked like an encyclopedia with a fancy binding. Do you know what this is? As Featherine spoke, she set a heavy object on the table. The first thing it reminded me of was a grimoire. The heavy book had a mysterious, mystical feeling to it, like something Maria might carry around. The most remarkable feature of it was a large, sturdy lock that held it shut. Why would someone go as far as to keep someone from reading a book? Why don't you take it and observe the back? The back? I flipped the heavy book over my lap, and as soon as I saw it, I gave a small gasp. Ava, Ushiromiya Ava! Without a doubt, those words were written there in Roman characters. What is this? On Ava's diary? Could it be that rumored? Do you know something about this? Just a rumor. They say that President Ava has a secret diary and she always kept it locked up. They said she took it with her everywhere she went. At least that's what I heard from some of the other bodyguards. A secret diary. Why is that here? It was in the hospital room where Ushiromiya Ava passed away. This diary was hidden behind her bed, so it remained in that room for some time after her death before it was found. Then by coincidence, it was probably found by someone who worked for the hospital, or else a patient or their family. Of course, by that time there was a huge movement dedicated to the Rokenjima mystery. A locked diary found in the hospital room where Ushiromiya Ava spent her last moments would be absolutely priceless. The discovery probably handed it over in secret to one of the witch hunters who would be able to accurately determine its worth. Luckily, the witch hunters who got their hands on this book were all noble and upright people. not content to boorishly destroy the lock and reveal the truth. They're simply satisfied themselves with the fact that the truth of that day slumbered just on the other side of the mysterious lock. Thanks to that, Ava's diary has remained undamaged to this very day. It is already known that Natsuhi, wife of Kraus, the oldest son of Kinzo, sealed up all of her complaints and repressed feelings by writing them down in a diary, which she treated like a sort of charm. So Aunt Ava did the same thing. It's possible, at least. Opening up a diary like this would be a pain, even if you did have a key. It's sealed up tight like a corset. Amakusa was right. This wasn't a diary made to be casually opened and reminisced over. It's probably safe to assume that she used this diary to forget things by writing them down and sealing them away, just like Ushiromi and Natsuhi did. And she brought it with her into her hospital room and hid it behind the bed without telling anyone about it. Don't tell me that diary is... Are you saying Aunt Ava wrote down what happened that day? By reading its contents, you'll probably learn everything. However, we don't know where the key that unlocks it is. How do they have Natsuhi's writing? That's weird. I jumped. Then I looked down at my chest. That's where my brother hung that key. Huh? It's gone. The key's gone. What's going on, lady? What key? It's been hanging from my neck the whole time, hasn't it? I never noticed it. You had a key hanging from your neck? I understood almost immediately. In this world of humans, I haven't found the key. The me with the key is on the game board in the world of witches. Make the me with the key. I'm going to unlock this diary. Featherine lifted a finger and spun it around. The world twisted again. When I returned to Featherine's study, the key popped back into existence hanging from my neck. But at the same time, the diary on my lap popped out of existence. Where'd the diary go? It should exist somewhere on the game board. Since it is one of the keyholes you are to be given, it must exist. Did Oni-chan hide it somewhere? Since Balor wants this to be a game between you and him, it probably isn't hidden completely. What do you mean? Even if Balor thinks of the diary as a king he mustn't lose, there would be no game unless it exists somewhere on this board. In other words, it's somewhere in the Ushiromiya mansion? Or you may have already given it an opportunity to witness it, like how a swindler has already hidden a trap in microscopic letters on the first page of a contract you signed. If Balor follows the customs of the mystery genre as the game master, clues must be shown, so the choice of that leads to Balor's defeat must have been shown. ANGE, try and remember. You should have seen Ava's diary in Balor's world already. In that instant from the back of my mind, which was the very first scene of this final game. In the chapel, a book was lying on the altar, a book with a lock on it. As soon as I showed interest in that book, my brother suddenly grew stern and told me not to touch it. That was on Ava's diary. That's right. Ushiromiya Ava's diary, the book of the single truth, with the truth of that day written inside it. The book of the single truth. Is the truth really inside it? After all, there's a chance it's just something on Ava. I'll say it in red. Ushiromiya Ava's diary, the book of the single truth, has the truth of Rokenjima during October 4th and 5th, 1986 recorded within it. Well... Lord Balor and his wife. Balor, the territory lord of the game board, and his wife Beatrice. After their wedding in the 6th game, they became a happy married couple. In the past, Battler emerged victorious at the end of this long-lasting game with Beto, and reached all the truths behind everything. Now in this final game, they invited Battler's little sister Angie. Just what sort of tale will he weave with Beto at his side? Furuto Erika, the Witch of Truth who successfully revived from the depths of oblivion. She is an enigma, a witch who is also a detective and a human. Once again, she will serve her master Castle with her steaming. Castle. She is a witch who controls miracles, but she's also known as a witch who knows that miracles do not occur. She's determined to destroy the illusion of the witch, and even now with Beta's game board has fulfilled its function, her determination remains just as strong. She is known as the Miko of the Great Lady Aora, and rumor has it is the backing given her considerable influence in the Senate. Lambda Delta invited as a guest to the final game by the Territory Lord and his wife. At times in the past, she has interfered with the game board along with Castle, but she now remains neutral, acting as an impartial observer. She's known for having many famous friends from various fields, but the fact that Castle is one of these is something that should be noted with awe. One thing I want to say is that Castle, oh man, reading episode 8 of Umineko, Lambda Delta became one of my favorite characters, but also, she also made Sadako one of my favorites. Like, when you think about it, like, I don't know what it is, but, like, I don't know. Eva Beatrice, the witch who returned from the legend of the witch serial murders and inherited the name of Beatrice. She uses the Eva culprit theory to refute all the other resistant theories regarding the cat box. At the same time, she can use the Eva culprit theory to create endless tragedies with herself as the culprit. Perhaps she could also be called the lid separating the inside and outside the cat box. Of course, she knows what's inside the cat box. Okay. Willard H. Wright, Shiromiya Leone. While carrying out a job as an Inquisitor of Heresy at Burns' request, Willard met Leone. In the final stages of the tale, he rejected the tragedy presented by the Witch of Miracles. In search of a happy ending, they have wandered through the Sea of Fragments, putting their lives on the line. They are now under Lady Lambda Delta's protection. And yay! Good night. Oh, yeah. The only thing that makes me angry is like outside sounds from the outside world. Okay? Usually that's it. I get really jumpy because it's like, I don't know, audio stuff. Because like if the mic has to be a certain level, it'll pick up other noises, and I get really paranoid about that. So it makes me kind of jumpy and irritable. So, yeah. Alright, bye-bye. Wait. Hold on. I have to test something. Damn it, I knew that stupid cricket was hearable. Ah, I hate crickets. Well, I'm going. Goodbye.